Welcome to the pre-show show. This is Johnny Jensen. This is the Team Superdad Expert Hangout. It is 5 to 8 and we start at 8 o'clock. So what the hell am I doing here? Well, we're using Restream. I've been a Restream user for a while, and now I've connected up Restream to Zoom. And so we are connected to Restream from Zoom into YouTube and Facebook and who knows wherever else. So a little update about Team Superdad. We have been busy. We've been really busy. It's just a case of creating something here. It started in 2019, so last year. It was a vision that I had going back to 2016-17, and basically it took a while. It took a while to get things going, but now it's really kicking off, and across the Facebook channel, across YouTube, across our guests here on tonight's event, then we are reaching out to dads who want more from life. You know, there's so many and so much stuff out there, you know, but still millions of people, men and women, whatever their challenge, their goals, their needs are still looking for answers. And so Team Superdad is part of that answer, whether it's about your health, whether it's about your money, whether it's about your family, your job, relationships. That sounds quite broad, but basically it boils down to having the life that works for you. And so inside of Team Superdad, rather than being overwhelmed and confused and lost and wondering quite what to do, this is a safe space where we bring in coaches, we bring in other dads, we hear from each other, we get advice, we have fun, and basically just really kickstart the life that we always wanted to achieve. So I can see Damian in the waiting room, so I'm going to bring him in. And here he is. Damian, how you doing, buddy? He's just connected to the audio. I'm going to unmute him.
How you doing, JJ?
I'm good. I'm very well.
Good, man. Nice little office there.
Yeah, you know, got to try and make the world look like it fits, you know. I've got lights here. I've got a light here. We're all fully togged up.
Beautiful, beautiful.
With all of our tools and equipment. So we're just waiting for Paul to be over in a second. I've just been doing I'm just testing the new setup with Zoom and Restream. So it puts it over to YouTube, it puts it over to Facebook. So
good. How many have you done? How many have you done?
Of these?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. Loads. So the Expert Hangouts is 3, so that's not loads, but so last week we did nutrition and fitness, and the week before we did teachers. So I got all that. Here's Paul. I'm just going to let Paul in. Yeah, so but in terms of Team Superdad podcast, done 10, 15, 20 podcasts for Team Superdad, and then I run the London podcasting community, so I've done hundreds of live streams and events for that, basically.
Class. Buffy, how are you?
Yeah, Damian, you all right, mate?
Very good, thanks. Very good.
How's things?
All right. I said to JJ, I mean, I came back from India on the 18th of March, so I've been back nearly a couple of months, and it's tough because you're still communicating to the boys out there and the Indian coaches out there, but they're on a total lockdown, so they're just about to come out now, and then they're going to have big problems, if I'm being honest. And that.
Do you think you can get back out there or not?
Not till about September time. So I mean, we were going to finish in May anyway, and then you due to go back pre-season in July, and it's a real shame for the kids because their competitive season doesn't normally start to about October, November, and that's one of the problems why they've struggled to sort of advance and develop, because kids over there are fantastic, Paul, you know, really humble kids, really driven kids. You see them in the cricket and the hockey, and they just haven't had the infrastructure or the investment in the football, but there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work now in the football. See what happens.
It's Daisy out. Is Daisy out there?
Yeah, he's the Bangladesh national manager. So
that's it. Yeah, he's done really well, isn't he?
Really good, really good.
Yeah, and then Adi Pennock's out there as well, isn't he?
That's right. He's in Brunei, and then they play in Singapore and that. So
right, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So no, I'm not sure about going to Bangladesh, but I'm definitely going to go and see Adi Pennock if I can. So
definitely.
He offered the chance to go out there, so I might as well take up the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definily.
How's you anyway? Are you still? Is your boy still playing?
Yeah, they're still obviously they haven't played for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep him fit, but he just he's not interested at the moment, which is frustrating for me. But
I bet, yeah.
I was the same when I was a kid,
Yeah, and I'll say to JJ, that's a big figure that will come out in this message. I think actually this time is a beautiful time. It's like us as kids. Let them be kids, because there's something. Everything's so structured sometimes that let them go and find their way, and you support them, which you do. Fantastic parents and that, and obviously you've got the experience as well. But that's been a big thing for me in India. They just all they want is the opportunity, and it's and it's a bit of cliche, but they just want a ball and a bit of grass and that, and they're actually very, very good. So it's so it's been a real good throwback for me because it really is quite simplistic how we coach, but it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it's good.
Well, chaps, that is actually a perfect little intro into a little taste of what you guys are up to and how you kind of paths cross. I mean, we do have shared social circles to a certain degree, and obviously you have your shared footballing circles, as that was obviously apparent from that little chat there. I'll do a little intro for us, and that'll be the perfect way to kick things off. Paul, thanks for being here. Good to have you.
No worries.
And I've got a few questions lined up. Like I said in my message to you, more than anything, it will just roll into the conversation.
Yeah.
So let me just click record there. Welcome to the Team Superdad Expert Hangout. We do this every night. We don't do this every night. Are you mad? We do this every Monday night at 8 o'clock. You can watch live on the Team Superdad page over on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. And if you go over to teamsuperdad.com/expert-hangout, then you can register for the replays and any bonus content that any of our guests give me each week. Don't worry, guys, you've not got no homework. But this is like I was just telling Damian and Paul, been doing the Team Superdad podcast for the last 6 or 7 months now, and it's fabulous to dig into people's stories. But equally, in these times when more people are sat at home, people have got so many questions, and there's that sort of the advice and tips and insights bits that are even more powerful. And the first week I did teachers, and we were talking about homeschooling, so it's really insightful for anyone like myself, for starters, working out how the hell to get your kids to do work at home.
I'll have to watch that one.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I'll tell you what. As I move through these things, it's not surprised. I don't think it'll be a surprise that a lot of what advice we're given, we already know, and we just don't trust ourselves enough to actually be like, oh, what? It's that simple. Yeah, it's that simple. Okay, right. Okay, now I've got that confidence, I can just get on and do it. And last week I had some fitness and nutrition experts on, bodybuilders, yoga teachers, really cool. Had to keep pulling them back from being a bit too technical. You guys would probably be well on board with it. But I was like, macros and micros and...
Oh, no.
Okay, right. Good. That's a relief to hear. But as I was thinking about, it was a conversation with Jago, really. He was... his 11 plus is coming up, which if you're not from an area that has grammar schools, 11 plus is a test to get into a secondary school for kids when they leave primary school. So they take the test when they're 10 years old, which my boy is. But it's a challenge. I don't know how you'd pass it without tutoring. And he said to me, I don't just watch YouTube, I'm watching how to take penalties. I'm watching how to do skills, so I can improve my football. And I was like, and it just dawned on me that would be a perfect topic to dig into. I thought about you two, and it's just a real pleasure to have you both here. I'll let you do your own introductions in a minute, but just for anyone who missed the beginning, we've got Paul Booth here, striker, a lower league striker, as I understand from people who watch a lot of the lower league. Quite a prolific striker and very well respected, particularly for the teams that you played for and their fans, Paul. And Damian, I saw you play. I went and watched with Athos and watched you play a couple of times with Burnley. I know you started your career at Chelsea, as well as time at Crystal Palace, and all the different clubs that you've coached at and impacted. I know so many younger players across the different clubs that you've been at, and you just mentioned now you're working with under 18s in Punjab FC. So, blimey, my family in America have coached and worked with kids and young people, and when you start to think about not just the teenagers, but their family and their grandparents, when you work with young people, you're impacting literally thousands of people, and that's an amazing contribution. So it's awesome to have you both here. We're getting some weird feedback from someone. One of you, whatever your mic is, it could be is your mic, is your phone close to a speaker or something? It could be that's getting feedback from. I'm not sure.
I'll move mine just in case.
Okay, cool. So on the Expert Hangout. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this, please comment. I've got a chat box from here from Restream, so I should be able to see any chat comments coming up. If you're watching on Facebook, then please start a watch party so we can spread and share this to other people that are interested. And as always, come on over to the Team Superdad page or the Team Superdad group and join with the community. We're a group of dads who want more from life. And if that sounds like you, then it'd be great to have you on board. So, as a first of an introduction, right? Why don't you guys give me each a bit of a headlines to your career, and then I think we'll just go through like chunk by chunk from sort of kids and teenager into sort of playing and highs and lows, and how the hell do you stay motivated during those ups and downs, and then on towards the end of the career, and it's just like, well, what the bloody hell do we do afterwards? And the reason why that is an interesting structure is, yeah, we're talking about football, but dads, mums, anyone, they experience that in their normal career, but it's just not so punctuated, not so obvious. It's like, oh shit, I don't know if I like my job. Can I change jobs? Should I change jobs? Is it risky? Is it worth it? I'm not happy. What am I going to do here? What am I going to do now? What am I going to do next? Oh, they don't want me. They don't like me. I'm not good enough. Like, there's so much emotional stuff that people go through in their everyday life. But I think, or I imagine, I'm going to hear from you, in a sporting environment, it's kind of more apparent and more obvious, because that's the highs and lows of being involved in sport. But in sharing your experiences, I think it'd be as well as being interesting and a good bit of fun, I think it'd be very powerful for someone to be able to relate that to their own personal life, to their own challenges, and how they're relating to their work right now and what they might do afterwards. Awesome. Damian, you're at the top of my screen, so I'm going to start with you. You're first here as well. Go.
The first bit. I mean, I was just about to say to Paul, because we're both. You was Maidstone as well, Paul. Yeah. So you're Maidstone. Yeah, Maidstone. So, and again, I mean, I went to school in Westmoreland, and for me, you always remember them moments, because that's the interest. That's when you start having an interest in something that you really like, something you really love, and from that, and I use it all the time now, even all these years later. You have good coaches, but such an important part of your growing up was your teachers. And sometimes they actually wasn't football coaches, was they? They were just really good role models, really good people that you respected. They told you off if you need to be told off. They stopped you playing football at times and that, but they actually gave you lots of confidence. And that's always the biggest thing for me with young players that I've then coached, obviously, over the years. Just constantly give them that confidence. Of course, they've got to have that little telling off now, but how you do that, you try and educate them in the right way. So, because where did you go to school, Paul? Where did you go to school?
I went to school all over Maidstone, actually. I started off in Larkfield, round that way.
Yep.
I ended up going to East Farley, same school as Johnny and Jim.
Yeah.
And then I went to Cornwallis and Astra Viva in Maidstone.
Gotcha. You know.
About yourself?
Yeah. No, I was Moor Park, which was the Catholic school. Yeah, we moved down there when I was about 6, and straight away, and it was funny because a lot of my friends who lived on the estate where I lived in Larkfield, they all went to Brookfield now, but I was the Catholic boy, so we went to Moor Park, then I went to St Simon's Stock, and I mean, Moor Park was a fantastic school, great school. Again, as I mentioned, fantastic head teacher, a lot of female teachers actually, so we constantly were being told not to play football, but we always found a way to play football. And then St Simon's Stock, again, a really good school, because as you know, like Astra Viva and Oakwood Park Grammar School, so there was that competitive edge then as well, because everyone wanted to be wanted to be the best, even in that little catchment area of schools as well, you know. So
yeah, it's funny you mention it, because you do always remember the good players from growing up, don't you? Obviously, I remember you being older than me, but everyone knew who you was because of what you were doing in the game. And you remember people like Peter Hawkins,
Elliot Martin. Do you remember Elliot Martin as well?
Elliot Martin, yeah. I played with him at Gravesend. He's a good lad, isn't he?
Very good, very good.
Who was the one who played for Chelsea? John
Arley.
Yeah, just those sort of names, and you just remember how good they were. And then there was the ones that sort of were better than them, but just didn't go on to anything, because you always had them as well, didn't you? And you just
correct. And you always say, I mean, you're 100%, because it's opportunity. I mean, everyone says, how do you get spotted? And I find nowadays, and I was part of being involved in it. I mean, 6 to 8 year olds they're looking at now, and it's great for them, and it's great for the parents to have the experience. But I definitely think it's miles too early, like signing at under 9, and you would have experienced it with your boy, his son, and his friends, and the different circumstances. And it was great. Unbelievable amount of reading that you're doing at the moment, just on football, obviously, because that's my life, that's my passion. But I just know at Bayern Munich, for example, I'm not going to start their academy now to under 11, and I actually think it's a fantastic idea. And I hope that actually the academies in this country maybe don't start to under 12, because as we just alluded to then, I think them years when you're starting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, they're the great years to be actually playing football with your friends, learning so many different techniques that some are successful, some need working on, and you constantly do that all the way through from 12, 13, 14, all the way through.
Actually, it's nice to be a kid as well, isn't it?
Correct. Key word in that, and sort of find yourself a little bit, because, I mean, we're all the same, didn't we? You probably didn't go on that sort of journey of jumping on a bus to use probably like under 11, under 12 to get to school on your own, because that's when your parents thought you were ready, and you actually felt yourself, I was ready in that. So hopefully that sooner or later that will come in as well in this country, and I think it'll benefit us tremendously.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We Jago was fortunate enough to be invited to play at the Crystal Palace pre-academy in Maidstone, and so chatting to some of the dads there, Jago's a good little footballer, but you instantly see kids who are like, oh my gosh, they're exceptional, and they don't even look like they're trying. So I'm quite level-headed about the level Jago's at. But on that point that you just made there, Damian, you talked to some dads, and their boy had been signed, and now he couldn't, like for Chelsea or something. I'm thinking of one specific case, and then he couldn't play for the school anymore. Yeah. And then he's like, you can only play on a Saturday, and then so then the kid was upset, because he's like, I want to play with my mates. I love the fact that I got the chance to play at Chelsea's academy, but I have to drive up there twice a week, the money, the time, and actually it just became something that was potentially a passion and a lifetime of pleasure for the kid, had become a pain in the arse, even just at 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, my last role at Chelsea, 2006, was the under-16s coach, and I mean they've changed it now for the better, which is a good thing. But there were boys coming in at under 15, under 16. And you could tell they've obviously travelled to school, had the whole day at school, and they're turning up to training. And at that age, they haven't even got a smile on their face. Whereas I always use the example that my dad was a London cab driver. You'd be waiting for him to come home, and Paul will know there's lots of boys. Your local club is Gillingham, Paul. So that's where you went to, and Steve Bruce was doing the coaching. And you can still remember it now, even as a 10, 11-year-old, the excitement you had, waiting for your dad to come home, jump in the taxi and go to Gillingham, which again was only probably about a 25-minute, 30-minute journey. And that was fine, because you actually then had all that enthusiasm to go and train. Some fantastic players. Used to just train on some hard concrete with Mark Beanie training the sandpit with Ron Hilliard, who who's at Ebbsfleet, Gravesend, Northfleet. But that enthusiasm was tremendous. And then to have Steve Bruce actually coaching you was actually tremendous. And he was probably only a young man then, about 23, 24.
Yeah. So a little question just about being kind of going around in a slightly different way, but as teenagers, right? So both of you are playing football. To some degree, you're aware that you're better than a lot of others, right? Then you're a teenager, and there's like pretty much choices to be made, right? Like, is this what I'm going to do? All my mates are going out on the lash. Like, probably half of them are going raving, Damian. And the same for you, Paul. How much of a challenge was that when you were a teenager? And obviously we've got parents here who are trying to keep their kids in now, just at a basic level of don't go out because there's a lockdown going on. But what was it like making those choices as teenagers? Is there any regret there for you about things that you missed out on as a teenager?
There's regret for me because it's probably a good thing that you got me and Damian on, because as teenagers we both took different paths. Mine was completely grassroots football. I never was at an academy. I had trials at academies, but unfortunately my mum and dad split up, so my mum couldn't get me to a lot of the coaching venues and stuff. So I just literally luckily I had a really good Sunday league coach called Trevor Roberts. I don't know if either of you know him, but he just loved football, didn't have any kids. So he used to come and pick everyone up, used to take me training. My mum didn't have to do anything, which was great because she was busy working hard and looking after my sister. And then I sort of got to that age where I was at Maidstone and then they folded and I went over to Gills and it was weird. I was quite a shy kid, quite cliquey, because we used to play each other. Everyone knew everyone. All the few Maidstone lads were going over to Gillingham and it wasn't, we weren't really accepted. And me not being a strong personality just sort of went, no, I don't want any of that. So I gave up on football for a bit. And it wasn't till I was about 18, I started playing Sunday men's football, that someone said to me, hang about, what are you doing playing here? Play with me at Tunbridge Wells. So I went to Tunbridge Wells, played 6 games for them. And then I was playing for Gravesend in the Premier League at the time, which was just one level below the conference. And then I realised I'd not been around, and I luckily at Gravesend there was a good set of lads sort of accepted me straight away, and sort of it took me 2 or 3 years to adapt to it though, because it's just so different environment from what I was used to.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, going out, I still went out a lot as a teenager. Obviously Damian might have done it differently because he was at a level that he was frowned upon, but I still went out, had fun, but football was my main focus. Well, sport in general, really.
Yeah, no, I mean it's. That two things that Paul mentions there. Which one is the opportunity, because obviously the parental situation. And sorry, there we go. Yeah, no, one in terms of the parental support is massive, and not because he obviously didn't have it. It's just the opportunity. Obviously, his mum couldn't take him. I was the same. My mum and dad had split up when I was 4, but obviously my dad, who I mentioned then, we moved down to Kent. So stepdad, and absolutely fantastic because he could give me that support, and so obviously he could take you to the clubs, take you for the opportunity. What was interesting was I came from a very ruthless, very sort of quite cold environment as kids. So you recognise very early doors that actually you need to concentrate on something in terms of the football. Now, I'm not saying the environments were the right environments, but the message was the right environment, that if you're going to achieve something, then you've got to have the dedication. And even to the degree that even when I was a professional, I would go out, but I never touched a bit of alcohol until I was like 19 years old, which is crazy. And I know we'll come on to children in a minute. And again, the Europeans, in terms of you go abroad, and even people at 12, 13 would just have a little glass of wine with their dinner, and they would just be able to handle it. Where obviously our culture was different, you would say. It's much better now, of course it is, isn't it? So again, them life skills in terms of, it was very cold, very ruthless. You're either in or you're out, because it was the time when people would make them type of decisions. You'd be training with a kid, playing with a boy in your team, but 2 or 3 weeks later, he's out, and there'll be the next one coming in. So it was that type of environment that, as I say, in terms of trying to achieve, was fantastic. But as Paul alluded to there, you get to 17, 18 now, you still have an opportunity of following that pathway, i.e. that could be semi-professional, that then could get you to professional. So that's why, again, you always say to kids, because a lot of kids do get disillusioned. I think Paul would support this. They get disillusioned with the game, Paul, around about 14, 15 now. And it's actually good for them. You say to them something, don't play for your local, say, non-league team. Keep that focus, keep that dedication, because you've still got an opportunity of coming back. if you feel like you've got the character to be able to come back.
Yeah. I mean, right now, 46 years old tomorrow, it's my birthday tomorrow. I can run 5K in just on the treadmill. I can get it under 20 minutes, and on outside the other week I was just over 21. How fast could I have run when I was 16, 17, 18, like that? The mind boggles at this age when I suddenly applied my fitness and enjoyed it.
Johnny, don't you think that that's a bit of a mentality thing? I think if I had my mentality now in my 18-year-old body, I'd be a hell of a different player, a hell of a different person. And I just think mentally I was so weak as a kid, and I realise that now. I didn't at the time. I thought I was all right, but just any running drills, I was always that kid who went, "Oh, how many we got to do?" So I was negative. And as I got older, I became more of a positive person. Just stupid things like when I was on the bench as a youngster, you might as well just not bother putting me on the pitch, because I was sulking. Anyone who wanted to listen to me, I was telling them, oh, I should be playing. Why am I not playing? And if I went on, I would sulk again. But towards the end of my career, I looked at it like positive. Right, when I get on, I'm going to score a goal. And 9 times out of 10, I would, because I was being positive. I just think that's the key to what you were just talking about. I think mentality, as you get older, you do use it to your advantage.
Yeah. Well, and generationally as well. Our dads, personal development. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? It wasn't until I was getting on late 20s before that as a subject became something that I was aware of and have worked on since then. But I'm putting that into my kids now, talking about not right, get on with it, my boy, or your life's gonna be rubbish, but like literally, what do you want? What do you want to have? Do you want, if you say I want to play for Tottenham, that's flipping brilliant. You might not, but what would it look like if you were going to? What would you have to do both in the daytime, but also in your mind? Just like you were saying, Paul, I was all bravado on the outside, like, yeah, I'm JJ, I'm flipping great. I'm like, totally nervous about talking to girls, even though most of my mates were girls. Like easy to get girls as friends. Another subject, like asking one of them out. but I created such a bravado that was all hidden away, yeah. And I'm actually saying to my boy, right, here, like, go and if you like that girl, go and talk to them, or don't talk to that one because she's mucking you about, but do talk to that one. And schoolwork, he's doing his 11+, and I'm saying, you choose, my boy. But if you want to do the test, I think you're really capable of it, and I'm going to push you. And by the way, when you're not doing the work, I'm going to give you a hard time as well, because you said we're all in on this. And God bless my dad for all his nuttiness and buying us motorbikes and flipping taking us on amazing holidays and stuff. But he said to me when we chatted about this, he goes, well, my dad never told me nothing, so why was I bothered? So I wasn't going to tell you nothing, and you wouldn't have listened anyway. So he's like kind of right, basically. But I'm bringing my kids up in a way that, this is my intention, that we can speak from the heart. They understand about the sort of the mind and the body type energy and focus, and as much as possible, having them realise those negative thoughts, that lack of positivity, that lack of drive around things, isn't necessarily the truth. It's something that they can head off. Basically, they don't have to believe that voice in their head. What about when you were playing? What's it like suffering injuries or being let go by a club? We're talking to dads here as much as anybody, and they might be suffering all those kind of challenges themselves right now. But what were some of the tactics that you had to adopt, or the mental toughness that you had to instill to make those injured for a period of time and then have to work your way back into the team, or worse than that, be told that you were surplus to requirements and actually pick yourself up and go on and start again at another club?
Go on, Paul. Go on.
The injuries are always tough. I mean, I was quite fortunate to I never really had any bad ones. My son's foot about 3 months ago, and I just at the time thinking, blimey, he's broken more bones than I have, and I'm 44 and he's 11, and I just put that down to pure luck. And people always used to say to me, how did you manage to play? I always say, the first thing I say is because I was lucky with injuries. Because some really good players who had to retire. Well, yourself, Damian, 29.
Yeah.
Retired at 28. This because of knees, ankles, backs, and honestly, when you do get an injury, I pulled my adductor away from the groin, and I was out for a good 6 months. And when I came back, I couldn't strike a ball properly. I had to put everything, and it was, I came back too early because I just wanted to get back playing because I was so depressed. It's hard to explain. When you're not involved, you're still involved in the team. You go in the team, you have a bit of banter, but then you go off with the physio or you go off with the other injured players, and you just don't feel part of it. And it's hard. It's quite hard because you see them all sort of warming up, laughing. You think, oh, I just want to get out there, and And at the time, I was playing for Havant and Waterlooville, so I was driving 2 hours to just do that 3 times a week, and it was really doing my head in at the time. I remember thinking, do you know what? I don't even know if I can do this anymore. But you bounce back. It takes time, but I bounce back eventually, and and then it's soon forgotten about. But it's tough at the time, definitely.
No, very tough. And the good thing is, like, you're obviously a little bit older, a little bit wiser. So and as you alluded to earlier, at 18, 19, you sort of get this, we use the word, sort of this so-called mental toughness that helps you solve these type of situations where, I mean, it's massive now. I mean, and you'll know the clubs and you'll see it, JJ, at all levels, that when your boys are playing, you'll be playing against the grassroots clubs that, literally from the minute you turn up there, you see the first person, it might be the person who opens the gate, the manager. It's just one of them great environments. And for me, that's the real positive now in football clubs, that you can tell all the best clubs because they just have the coaches, the physios, the sports scientists, academy manager, so many staff, even the transport drivers. Because, I mean, your question earlier about not sort of going off the rails, and I mean, when I was injured, say 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, whatever age it was, I would still go and speak to, say, my old manager, Larkfield Boys, who ended up being a good scout for Chelsea as well, a great guy. He's 80 years old now, a guy called Alf Blanford, and who was manager of Larkfield Boys. So he was like, I mean, I used to call him my third father, and that, so because I could go and speak to my dad, but sometimes he might be just very black and white. I'd go and speak to Alf. So it's really important. And I always tell young players nowadays that, yes, you've got your family, but there's someone else that in the club, there could be even a parent of someone that that you spend maybe a lot of time around. He's out there. Talk, have that chat to them, and that, and that sign of maturity is brilliant for kids, because the earlier they get that, then they can handle the situations that you alluded to. Because we all know, when you're sick, isn't it? Even though as an adult, you play football, don't play football, you do feel a little bit weak for X amount of days and that. So injury, like you say, not being able to do something, you need to just be able to talk to someone and in a calm way and just trying to improve slowly.
And on the subject of like fitness and stuff, and I know neither of you are like health fitness instructors or whatever, but what's it like keeping yourself fit all the time? I get up and I run quite a lot now. I'm doing my home exercise. Other dads are at the other end of the spectrum where they're just flipping. I ain't like what you're talking about. Fitness is lifting a jar up to my gob. But when you're doing that day in, day out, how did you? What can you share about motivating yourself to stay fit and to keep fit? By the way, for anyone who doesn't know Paul Booth, Luke is like ripped.
I'll tell you how that came about. I never went to the gym at all. I hate if you speak to anyone who knows me in football from up until when I was about 28, they'll say I was the worst trainer in the world. I was the unfittest person. The goalkeepers used to beat me in the 12-minute runs. I was. And that was mental as well. But when I met my wife, I started living in Peterborough with her, and I met her through a group of lads that I met on holiday. I got on really, really well with, and that to the gym. And when I moved up there, they were my mates, so they went to the gym a lot. So I thought I'll just have to join the gym, go with them. We'll have a pint after, and I just got into it. And I tell you what, it was the best thing I ever did because it improved my football so much. Because I realised that lifting weights and that actually can make you quicker, can make you more responsive, can more explosive, which is for a forward was ideal. I was better in the air, I was quicker. I was stronger. I could hold people off. It just helped my game massively. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons as well that I retired, because I love gym sessions now that so much that when towards my career I was playing a game of football and I couldn't walk for a week. So I was like, oh, this is messing up the gym. So I was just like, you know, I think my body's telling me it's time.
Yeah. And Damian,
it's a great point. We analyse the young players and that, you know, in terms of once they get to 15, 16, 17, 18, they all sort of have their individual sort of development programs, physical development programs. And it's interesting because obviously Paul recognised that he maybe needed to get stronger to be a better forward. For me, playing midfield, it was all about cardio. And it was interesting when Frank Lampard, for example, first signed at Chelsea. And obviously everyone knows the sort of name that he used to call Frank when he was at West Ham. And if you ever, for young players, everyone and that, if you just want to recognise someone that just through running, how his body changed, and then obviously they've got the physical trainers and they used to do a lot of the weights as well and different other types of exercises that they all become, because nowadays they are just modern athletes now, and even they're all shapes and sizes, but they're all maximising their potential. And that's the most important thing in that, because even now, 49, I've got a love for running again. I mean, it's part of my routine in India. Literally, where the hotel is, 8 rooms down, is the gym, and it's just fantastic. And I say to myself, right, Monday to Friday, still love my cardio, just run, give yourself Saturday and Sunday off. It's a great incentive. And just going back to your point about with the dads, is they will say, I can't find the time, and I get that, you know, but you unfortunately just got to make the time. So even if it means as soon as you're coming home after work, I know you probably want to go and see the family, just go for that 10, 15-minute walk, even if it may be to take a few messages, make a few phone calls. Just find that bit of time for that bit of exercise, because it definitely makes a difference. Even we all know, you get a bit cheesed off, you go for that little walk in this moment of coronavirus. It's proven, isn't it, that just being allowed to go and do exercise is definitely helping us all. Definitely helping us.
Without a doubt, I'm not the kind of person, no matter what kind of impression I give on some of the videos and the chat we do about Team Super Dad, I struggle in the morning. I get out of bed, do a meditation, and I'm like, go running. No, don't go running. Go running. No, don't go. Okay, do a 5K. No, well, if you're going to go, you should do 10. Well, 10's too long. Don't go. It's like, and then you've got your trainers on and you're out there. You're like, what the hell was that all about?
That's it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
We're doing a big thing to keep, Monday and Wednesday, we're doing psychology in terms of, so all the staff from Punjab FC, we've got 2 psychologists, physios, scientists, and the coaches. And last week's one was self-talk, and that was tremendous how you just done that, JJ, because that's what the mind does. And that's why, in terms of even in football, and it's like Paul recognise this, you recognise it. You get to the 80th minute and your mind's telling you, I'm tired. It's not. That's just your mind telling you tired, you know. So, and you go again. You might not be as quick, but you just keep going, and that's the secret. You know, that's what's needed to help you reach the levels that you need to reach.
Yeah. And I work on that in my kids. Just, you know, the let's go and do it, guys. You know, I know that once we're out on the bike ride, once we're out on the run, and all the hoo-ha about what was going on is gone out the window. We're having a great time. And you know, there is challenges with Xbox and Fortnite and that sort of stuff. And my daughter's actually a little bit better at it than my son. I've got this T25 workout. She's doing oblique knee push-ups with me. And I said to him, Jago, your sister is going to blow you out of the water if you don't start getting a bit fitter soon. But bless him, he just wants to be back out playing football. He's really missing that more than anything. Yeah. But I think for people who haven't ever done much fitness in their whole life, they don't know what that moment feels like. That 3K into a run, or even if it's 3K is the finish of the run, the feel-good factor only comes at that point. And if they've not grown up with any kind of fitness, then they've never experienced that. So of course, any bit of fitness is a pain in the ass. They never get to feel the good stuff. So
and I can't make it perfect, because if you ask my wife, and is he any good at cooking? She'd say absolutely useless and that. So you can't have it all. Is my message as well. As well. So I enjoy sport. That's what I love. That's what I love.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I finally got the thing shared on my Facebook page now. So just a little hello to Neil and Gemma, both watching. That is Ian's Gemma. That is Boothie.
Oh.
I don't know where Ian is.
Yes, she said she was going to watch.
Oh, good. Well, she is, yeah. And we've got Mr. Skelton on board as well, Damian. So what about when you, both of you kind of alluded to when your career was coming to an end, but that decision, you know, you can imagine dads, any kind of parent, they're looking at their career, they're thinking on some level, I don't even like what I'm doing, I've got to change this. Or it could be this corona situation and the job they've always had is pretty much not gonna exist. How much of a challenge was that for you, reinventing yourself? Obviously, Damian, you're still heavily involved, but
yeah,
even that must have been a decision. You know, how you know, I'm not asking you to be a career advisor or nothing, but what can you share about how you made that transition and how you pushed through the concern about whether it was going to work out or not?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, you're openly admit you lose your identity, and I mean, there's been loads of good articles about that. You know, that players, they normally retire at 35, and obviously financially now they're so secure. So again, money doesn't make the total difference, but it gives you choices, as we say. So in my time, you wasn't financially secure, and you do lose your identity, and that is the hardest part, because you've still got that confidence, you've still got that belief that you had as a player. You're not sure, being blunt, of what your decisions in terms of work are going to be. And I remember going to, do you remember like Data Team? I think they're still going in Maidstone.
Yeah.
A lot of my, you know, and a lot of my friends were in the print. So, and I'd look to them, and I'm coming out of football and thinking, well, that's quite a nice job. You're mixing with people, you're traveling, it's trying to obviously negotiate. And I'm thinking, well, I might be, I've never sold, but I might be able to sell. And I'm thinking, I'll go and have a chat. And I went for an interview at So I go and sit down and I speak, and I'm confident, and for 20 minutes I fire away. And he shot me in the water, because he just went, Damian, you come across really well, but we know that once you get an offer to go back into football, you go back to football. And in my head, I'm thinking, don't talk about football. Don't talk about, i.e., you might go back as a coach. But I must have alluded to so many things about, obviously, your career that you had. He actually made my mind up to say, do you know what? You thought about coaching. You're going to have to maybe start at the community level, lower academy, but you're 29. Why don't you go and give that a go? And it was tough, because we just had our first daughter, and we were okay, but it wasn't, you didn't know, you obviously had to earn money, and it wasn't a case of, oh, you were secure for 3, 5, 10 years. You had to earn money maybe after 6 months or a year. But it was a good wake-up call, and it was a good realisation for me to go into, the real world, as I call it, and then lucky enough to go back into football, so which has been very kind.
Damian, what was you, be honest, what was you like as a coach when you first started out?
I was a coach who believed everything was about the technical, but I was too closed, would be my mind, and that's something that I asked, and he won't mind me sharing it. Like, we had a very good player at Charlton, and he's now at Sheffield United under 23s, a guy called Andy Hughes. And while I've been off, I've been sort of cherry picking different coaches to ask them questions, what they're learning, and so straight away his first response back to me is, I'm becoming calmer. And that's a big thing in that, because you're quite intense, because you're still young, you may be, and you know, psychologists will tell you, you might even be dealing with your own experiences. You're a bit, maybe you could have a bit of frustration there because your career's finished early. You don't ever take that out on the environment, but your actual mood or your body language could dictate that. So I felt probably as a young coach, even though I always instill confidence in players, always like them to be the best they can technically, but there's a way and there's a manner that now at 49 years old, I've coached now for 20 years basically, you're just so much calmer, and that's a good thing to have. And then you realise what are the most important things at different stages, whether they're 7, 8, 18, what is needed for them to develop and that. And being blunt, sometimes you still may use the things that you use with an under 7 still with an under 18, because he still needs that nurturing. He still needs that sort of family environment. So I hope they say I'm a better coach, Paul, but like I'm definitely I enjoy it.
I only ask because everyone thinks because you played to a certain standard and you love football, everyone thinks you're going to automatically be a good coach, but it doesn't work like that. And I've found that. I mean, I've been kids coaching for quite a while, and at first I didn't like it. I'm obviously still coaching now down at Hive, and I was at Maidstone with Jay, but it's not something. I was fitness coach, so it wasn't that bad, but I found it hard when people weren't listening to me. But I took things personally, and I realised that you've got to have a really thick skin, because you can't keep 16 people on you all the time. And I, being a player, when the coach was talking, I was kicking a football, talking about Saturday night. And when I became a coach, I realised
what a knobhead you've been.
Respect me and listen to me. But it just doesn't work like that, does it? And I took it personally. And as I'm getting into more, I like doing the kids football now. I do the district team now, and I do a team called Chatham Town with I don't know Lee Spiller. He's a good. I'm learning a lot from him.
Yeah, and Cole, it's Cole Lamman there as well, Paul.
Yeah, Cole's there.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Good.
Yeah, he's a good guy now. But no, I mean, a couple of words you used there now, definitely about the personal now, because obviously we'll have a lot of dads on this and that, and in terms of they may be coaching their boys' team, son or daughter's team, because obviously the girls is massive as well. And I mean, that I actually find, and you even say to coaches, because they always say, like, what age shall I coach? And I say, coach every age. So that means go and coach 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7 years olds, who are much harder than coaching 16, 17, 18s and that. But it challenges you as a coach. It opens your eyes as a coach. Again, I've got a good friend in America that I've gone out and done a couple of these soccer schools over the years, and they always say, like, what age do you want to coach? And I say, I don't mind. And I ended up being, I think, with some under 12, coaching some under 12 girls, and they were absolutely fantastic. And because it was such a long day, their attention span and their discipline was far, far better than some of the group of boys that I'd had over the years and that. So it was a real great experience. And yeah, you always say, just enjoy your coaching, because you actually sometimes overanalyze it as well. And again, your point about trying to engage everyone, you soon realise that they're all there and they're all focused, but how they learn and how they is there, isn't it? AJ says, if you were coaching, like if you was coaching you, like how would you coach you and that, you know, and do you use that for your motivation, because you know what you like basically in that. So we talk about having them sort of two sides in that, you know, in terms of that split personality and recognizing what you are.
I tell you one thing I do as well, being a dad that coaches his son, is I seem to take out all my frustrations on my son. It's quite harsh on some of them, but you know, when you sort of feel like you can't tell the other kids off, and your son's not doing it. Sullivan, come here, stop talking. But I think that's just the natural thing, isn't it?
Definitely that, you know. And there's no greater feeling than the whole team and that, you know. But they're great moments when you see fathers or mums and that, if they are coaching their child, that when there's that connection and that, in terms of like, because away from the foot, got a natural connection there, but you then see it in sport and it's tremendous, and that, you know. I mean, they get a lot of stick, the Neville brothers, but you only have to look at them and how well they've done, not only just in their football careers, and their sisters were in the netball, and obviously they come from a real sporting family in that. So I was lucky, and I mean, I know it come up later with JJ, but everyone said, I bet you want a son. I just wanted a healthy child, and I had two daughters and that. So it's been quite an easy ride for me till they got to about 15, 16, and that's why it's become more stressful then.
Yeah. Were they sporty at all, Damian? Was your girls?
They both the soccer schools I alluded to earlier, and that they both went on the soccer schools when they were 7 or 8, 9, and it's funny because everyone would then turn around to them and say, "Oh, you're going to be a good player," and obviously they're girls playing with mixed boys and that. And I think one day one of the daughters got a ball on the head and that, you know, and the tears were there and she shaked it off and that. But yeah, they quickly then took up Irish dancing, which again they enjoyed. You know, they were more down the dancing route than sporting route, and again, you support them with whatever they want to do. So yeah, no, they started off, but yeah.
No, but I mean, even dancing, it's a buzz watching your kids perform. It's for me, I want my kid to do something. If they don't like sport, I want them to be in a band. If they want to play the music, I want them to dance out and say, I want do something. And I love in America with like spelling bee or science bee, like get them in a team, whatever it is, get them in a team. And I think that that for me is an important part of giving our kids an experience in life of something that's real. Like, yeah, I want you to win. Of course I want you to win. And if you come second, I don't really care, as long as you were going for it. And on that level, I don't care if you came last, because if you were there competing and you put in your all, then there's 100 other kids who never even put their trainers on and got in the race or picked up the guitar or whatever it was. So at that level, you know, the fat kid that comes last is way ahead of every other kid that never even started. And I think that as a dad, I want to stand up and cheer my kids in something. I think I could get shot down a little bit for this, but I think that's part of being a parent, being pushing your kids in some way to perform or to play at something, because you want to be the parent that's standing up and whooping and hollering when they come on stage or when the thing is finished.
Yeah, no, and it's come out in the conversation earlier, and that is that it's different cultures now, and they're much better cultures as well now, and that's not a criticism of our own parents, because they're still supportive of that. And me and my dad are still row over football now and that, you know, and even though I let him win now, you know, so I realised the argument's not worth not arguing anymore on that. But even they're educated in terms of like, so he'll go and watch my nephew, like his grandson, and again, he takes so much joy in watching that, you know, and it's probably because he hasn't got to push me or my brother to try and achieve something in that, but. And again, it's great. I see so many grandparents and they're fantastic support networks for young players now. The grandparents, if you're fortunate enough to have them supporting you, really important, really important.
I think that's what sport does to you. I mean, I go to Sullivan's game and I think, right, I don't care if they win, lose or draw. I just want them to play the right way, this, that, and the other. But then as you get into the game, the passion gets in, and you're just like, right, and you get into it, and you want them to win so bad. But you shouldn't. And this is one thing Lee Spiller's teaching me. He's like, Booby, honestly, it doesn't matter if we'll smash a team, but they'll beat us 2-0. And their parents are all going, oh, we beat so-and-so. And that was me. I'm like, no, we should be beating teams like that. It's not about, look at the football we played. And they just kick the ball long. And that's what I'm just trying to learn in coaching, really, at the moment.
Yeah. But, and it's a massive word, you know, because, I mean, anyone who says, like, it's the manner of the result is the better way of putting it, you know, because performance is everything, and that's the secret. Obviously, at professional level, it is performance now, and everyone judges that on the 3 points. But again, you recognise that if you have the right investment, you're going to have a much better chance of being successful. So use that word investment in young players is because they are the potential business, if that makes sense, in terms of a positive way. Not because you want to sell them, but you can teach them all the things you're talking about. Teach them to be better players. Most importantly, teach them to be better people. And also, I keep going back to him, but our old local boys manager will go out every 6 to 8 weeks. When you're here, in terms of like, and there'll be about 10 of us and that, in terms of maybe 5 or 6 of us all play for Larkfield Boys, for kids come from Larkfield, and we'll just go out, have a nice curry in Westmoreland, and he'll come with us out and he'll say, this is what makes it. He said, it wasn't that we were successful, which was great, and we did quite well as a young team. He said, you're still mates now. And we give him a bit of stick, shut up, you soppy old soul, and that, you know, like, but it means everything to him, you know, it means everything. And being blunt, he's actually then passing that message on to us, because they are your mates, and of course it's great if you play football, but they're your mates that you're going to look out for, and we'd all have them type of people. I know obviously JJ Fuss and that, you know, and saying Boothie, like with Spielberg, you're learning off him, but he's a mate, isn't he, as well, you know, which is a positive thing, you know, positive.
Yeah, those relationships that last. And I'm pretty certain you guys could answer this even better than me, but they don't always end up being your best mates, but they'll always be your teammates.
Yeah. Always a phone call away, which is sometimes you go, I mean, I do that quite, I mean, we're quite sitting in them cars, I mean, so long, and I don't know if you're watching them Real Marigold Hotel or the Manx in Mumbai and that, you know, like it makes that India's, it's really busy at times and that, but it's great that you can just, I know there's a time difference, I'll just randomly, I might be having a couple of hours spare on a Sunday, you think, I'm just going to bring that person. And it's great when you're just catching up with people. And I used to do it the same in England, where I'm driving on the motorway, stuck in traffic, just pick the phone up to someone that you might not have spoken to for about 2 or 3 months. But as you say, they've been, and they'll take the call or they'll come back another time. It's fantastic just catching up.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's almost an unexpected but perfectly timed comment, really, Damian, because I've found myself speaking to a lot more people during this lockdown. Normally we're so busy, you know, we say we're so busy, and the kids and work and all those sorts of things. But you know, by the same token, in lots of parent communities, single dad groups, single mum groups, people talk a lot about loneliness, and those groups, right? You can imagine I'm in quite a lot of them, and just getting a feel of what people need and how Team Super Dad can be different. But people are so negative. Paul, you spoke beautifully about adopting a positive attitude earlier, and people are so negative so much of the time. And I'm lonely, I don't know what to do. Like, well, ring someone, ring an old friend, ring a you know, find a singing club. We can't do those things kind of now, but like, we probably never had a better, easier way to find a meetup group or find a Facebook group, or see, like, go onto Facebook, there's events happening, like even now with this virtual world that we're in, or look up old friends and say hello. People often think, oh, that would be weird, what would happen? They won't take my call. But if you flipped it around and said, what would I do if an old mate called me? Oh, I'd be happy to, it'd been brilliant, I'd answer the phone. So people need to remember that actually people do want to chat. People are looking forward to hearing an old friend's voice. And especially, like you said, as someone who's been a teammate, shared experiences at school or however long ago it was.
And I mean, Paul said it earlier as well, that about, say, his younger days and that, and how you sometimes take things personal. And this is, I know it's a bit of it's a challenge, if I'm being honest, that is because especially in this social media world where everything is so instant and so quick, don't take anything personal in that, because you might ring someone, they're busy, can't take the call. Try again, you know, leave it 2 or 3 weeks, but just try again. And obviously it's second or third time, then they're too busy, and there's plenty of other people that your paths have crossed, and make another phone call, as you say. And the secret is this: just keep going and plodding on that, because as I alluded to earlier, that, you know, we all have them different circumstances in your life, and that's how you do learn, isn't it? And that from that. So, and again, we're talking about young players here and the support networks, whether it might be just a dad or a mum and that. So again, them relationships are really tough and that, because they've only got one person at times they can speak to. So again, you might need that cooling off period, but again, go and speak to them at the right time, you know, and get that relationship back on track.
Yeah. Just as we come towards the end, guys, one question I just remembered I wanted to ask. It's amazing, all the different people I speak to. I never go out and say, oh, I only want to speak to someone who's a dad, or I only want to speak to someone whose flipping parents got divorced when they were kids. But both of you went through that experience and grew up like that. So it's just, I find it amazing that the universe gives me those opportunities. So thanks for that. But also about pushing your kids. You know, if anyone's feeling awkward or about pushing their kid too much, what advice would you give from your own experience personally as a dad, but also from your work experience?
Well, I think I am quite a pushy dad when it comes to my eldest son, and I think a lot of the reason behind that is because I wasn't pushed as a kid, so I feel like And I feel like because he loves football and he wants to be a footballer, I mean, I tell him every day that your chances of it happening are slim. But like you said, if you want to do it, I've got the tools to help you. I can help you, and we can go and do this, we can go and do that, and you've got potential. I'm not saying you're going to do it, but if you work hard with that potential, you never know what could happen. You know, I got so far without being pushed. If we push you, who knows what that? And sometimes I think, am I doing this the wrong way? Because I think at the end of the day, I just want my kid to be happy, and and I don't want to push him to the point where he's like, oh, I'm not enjoying football anymore. Because that I've seen that happen to a lot of my friends with pushy dads, and worry about that. But it's about getting a happy medium, isn't it? Really, push them when they need pushing, or actually work. Every kid's different. Like I probably was a kid that needed pushing, where Sully might not be so much because he's quite determined. He's a completely different footballer than I was. I was quite lazy. He's just he doesn't stop running, and he's really passionate. He cries when he loses. I never had all that. It means the world to him, and so I just think sometimes, do I need to push someone who's that driven on themselves? Do I need to push them anymore? It's about, and it's tough. It's tough as a dad. You don't know I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but I'm not pushing my younger boy at all, because I'm sort of trying the complete opposite to see which one works, and he's doing really well as well. So I don't know. Don't know the answer.
It's a great answer, because I think you've answered it, which is because you got, is it 3 boys you got, Paul?
I've got two boys.
Two boys, and Sally's the eldest one.
Yeah, he's the eldest. Yeah,
he's the eldest one there, So yeah, I mean, it was brilliant there, like listening to you, because I was, I'm relating it to so many parents that you've seen, and like you said earlier, what's different for me as a coach, because when I was 29, 30, if you were pushing too hard, I would have been against that. Would be the word I use. But I know you obviously, and but. Again, if I was in an academy and I'd only met you for 1 year, I don't know you, if that makes sense today, So I know your character, I know your personality, I know obviously the successes you had with the football. So I know then that you're giving your experiences, and it's like, and only you and your family will probably decide, and of course your close friends will decide what's the right way, and and what was brilliant was, you recognised it with the younger one, so maybe you don't push him as much, and that because you're realising, well, I've done that with Sully at that age, maybe I don't need to do that, and that's what it's all about. I feel in football and sometimes in life, because as I say, I mean, it's free. I've had 2 girls that I know we have the joke now is that I felt from primary school age they needed me 100%, and that was one of the reasons why I went to India, because I said to my youngest one, she was 17, I said, look, it's not necessarily I want to go, but it's the right time for me and for us in the future for me to go. And so I apologise. And she's so she was brilliant. She just looked at me, she went, no, that's fine, Dad. And it actually made sort of gave me peace of mind, because my eldest one's 21 and she's fine and she's working. And so she's on her path and happy. Whereas my youngest one was just about to do her A-levels. And I was really worried that I'm leaving her at that time when she might need me. But she just very maturely said, no, it's fine, Dad. And it's been brilliant for me in India, because exactly as we're doing tonight, I'm speaking to them. It's more quality time. I mean, now I'm back in England, they desperately can't wait for me to go back to India and that, So that's what it's like being in a house full of women and that. But and again, and I was conscious because they both went to grammar school, and my dad was adamant, because not many of the family went to university, and he was so desperate for them both to go to university. But from the age of 14, 15, they both went, Granddad, we're not going to university. And he never ever sort of asked me. He said, never turned around to me and said, why are they not going and that? He was disappointed, but I just recognised that 1, they were independent. 2, they've got a work ethic that hopefully will put them in good stead. And then also they'll take opportunities, which we all know you do have to take in life and that. So we'll see. So that university will. So in one way, I feel sometimes did I fail them by not really encouraging them to go to university? But we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, university is another whole ball game, really. But my experience of getting my boy to do work the 11+, clearly you supported them back then, because no normal human being can take that test without preparation. Bloody hell.
Yeah. No.
Well, guys, that is flipping been an epic hour. Thank you so much. Just finally, is there a piece of advice, like you've worked with loads of different coaches, different people that have inspired you? There's a lot of cool documentaries on Netflix and stuff at the moment. You know, the Jordan one is one everyone's talking about at the moment. Did any coach, any player you played with, did someone say something to you, either directly as a piece of advice or something in passing that just flipping stuck with you or really cut a nerve? Like, is there something in your mind as a response to that question that sticks out that you could share? No pressure.
There's so many people. I think I don't know. There's like one of the courses, the FA courses. There's a famous proverb that I definitely won't be able to remember. But in terms of sort of every person that you come across, and that's your teammates and your coaches, I think you take when you get to a, I don't know whether it's being wisdom, being philosophical with old age, but you actually take the positives from everyone. And a lot of times you learn from the negatives as well, in terms of sometimes someone might say something negative and you actually take that and think, you know what, maybe he meant that in another way, or she meant that in another way. So just always take the positives. For me is a message that all the best coaches and the best people, and I'll use him to be fair because he's a good friend of mine, but Chris Powell is like one of the most positive managers that I've seen in the environment. And I mean, the same as Booth, I think he played to his 40 as well, like or 37, 38. He played for England at 31, and he's just so conscious of the life he's had, the environment he's had, but he always gives time for people and that. So giving time to people and learning from the environments has always been the best advice I give.
Yeah, powerful. Nice one, Damian. Thank you.
I think the simplest one, and it's you hear it from day one until the day you retire, and that is go out there and enjoy yourself, because that's the first and foremost why you do it. But it gets lost along the way quite a lot, and you have to remind yourself why you actually play football sometimes, because it's not all it's cracked up to be all the time. You know, you have some bad moments. Sometimes you're just playing because you're just getting through the season, waiting for the next one till you go to another club. We didn't get into that, but that's how football is. And well, not just football, I can imagine it's most professional sports and stuff like that. You have your highs and lows, but sometimes you have to wake yourself up and realise why you actually play the game. It's because you love it, and you just need to make people aware of that.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think everyone can take a lesson from that. Is work is a necessity, but there's never been a more opportunity in the world to research a job or to flip and get a job in India, or, you know, like life's short, and as long as you can be sure of having the money that you need and supporting the people that you need, go out there and find a job, find a place to live, find something that brings you joy, because there's not going to be many other chances to do that. Yeah. Love it.
I think as well, Johnny, just quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
It's like just from you can learn so much from just talking to people, as it proved tonight. Like, I've learned loads just from talking to you guys. So just goes, you're never too old to learn things, are you?
Yeah,
100%. And that's the beauty. I think that's what you get the enjoyment from that as well, because if you think that someone's giving you a point that you can use, you'll try it, and then that's, for me, that's always the beauty of youth development, is because you try something and you don't always get it right, and that's being honest then as well, because refer to him, a guy Neil Bath at Chelsea, which is good, and for all that, the money and the investment at Chelsea, he's really positive. He just says honesty is the best policy, and again, that sort of message of try something, and if it doesn't work, just be honest in that, and then move on in that, because you'll help people better that way as well, because you'll make a mistake, they make mistakes. It's life, you know. You learn from their mistakes.
Definitely.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, guys, let me wrap this up. Then I'll press end on the record, and I'll say thank you to you after it ended. Everybody's been watching, thank you so much. This has been the Team Superdad Expert Hangout. We do this every Monday night at 8 p.m. If you want to watch the replay or get access to any of the bonus content that some of the guests give me, then go over to teamsuperdad.com/expert-hangout, and you'll be registered onto that list, and I'll be sure to send those out to you. In the meantime, please share this, comment, start a watch party, help me spread the word of Team Superdad. You can come over and join the free Team Superdad Facebook group at just search up Team Superdad groups on Facebook. And I look forward to seeing and working with you all in the near future. Okay, cheers. Take care.